Bow.
We're live.
Bingo. Just hooked up live, guys.
While we're waiting, I'm grabbing my computer real quick because I may have forgot real quick.
Dustin forgot something.
Turn you live on.
Coming on live, fellas. Everybody jump on, and we know the routine. What's the routine there, Dustin?
Well, I was going to say, we thought we knew the routine. Here, I forgot my computer. But I think I've done the last few today.
Travis knows what's up.
So you're up next. Hey, my sound's working so far.
You know, that was so fun last week when you did that.
I know it was.
I actually got to go back and watch that because it was so amusing.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's January 13th.
Jeez, already?
Coming on strong.
What'd you say?
Jonathan,
what's the date?
It is the 13th, June 13th.
Just checking on you.
What's up, everybody? As you come on in, hit that 10K crappie connection, and we'll get this party started. Texas crappie assassin. What's going on, man? Got a profile pic holding up some slabs. I like that, man. That's awesome.
What's up, Jonathan?
Yeah, John, tell Chris who. Come on in.
Hugs to all, Charles Henderson. They're still for free, buddy. Chiplock,
Yes,
what's going on, buddy?
Coming on through. I can't wait to get this party started. It's been a good week. Been a fun week. I got some Sardis report. I got a Ross Barnett report.
Well, yeah, I was excited about the Sardis. I was ready to hear about that. Did you go to that camp?
We went. I went, and
did they destroy the fish?
Yep.
Whacked them good.
I only got to fish. I fished Wednesday when I got there, and then had to do some other stuff Thursday, and got to fish a little while Friday, and then had to do a lot of podcasts. So I got a lot of podcasts in. Got some really good ones. I can't wait for them to come out. It was an awesome event. Les Smith up in Como, Mississippi has got a fantastic place. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of good stuff come up from it from the next couple months from various media outlets as well. Yeah, rest in peace, Arca Butler. I hear about that. That's a sad deal up there in North Mississippi with that lake.
Yeah, that is awful. I saw that as well.
It's a bad deal.
Seen a lot of stuff going on with that.
Appreciate everybody hitting that 10K crappie connection as usual. It kind of gets the party going, and you guys are doing great with that every week. And even got some news about a new sun hoodie that I'm wearing. Got them in last week, and man, let me tell you, they are the real deal. They are fantastic. Just feel
a lot of 10K crappie connections today. A lot of those.
Yeah. That's my posse, man. That's my posse hooking us up tonight. Yep, guys. Greg Ladner, Scott, Chris, Kevin, David, Michael, Sid, Midwest Outlaw. I mean, I like that name. That's another. He fits right in with Dustin there.
I was about to just say that. Sounds like me. A lot of Midwest going on here.
I'm going to kind of give my today's bite report, and I'm going to do it on not Arca Butler. Sardis from last week when I was there, and then I'll do a little bit back on the Ross Barnett and kind of tell you what I've seen the last, 7 days since last Tuesday night. I fished, I went up to Sardis last Wednesday morning, and I did a guide trip up there, and the gentleman that fished with me that day just really wanted to learn how to long line. So it's a real fun thing to do. And we got out there and kind of had some insight and where some guys torch stingles, some other guys have been fishing. So they kind of gave me an area to just go give it a shot and try. And, we winded up, I think, with 26 keepers in about 4 hours. Seemed like that bite just really, really died about 11, 12 o'clock that day. I don't know if that fish just seemed like I could see them on my down image. It just got deeper and deeper and right off the bottom and, about 20 foot of water. But when I got there, I seen a lot of fish suspended from 10 to about 14. So I tied on 2 8s, 2 1/8s, and tried a lot of different colors, but they really keyed in for me on a particular Bobby Garland color. The name of it's Keystone Candy, which is kind of like a purple with red glitter.
Oh, I got it right here. Look at that.
There it is, with red glitter, chartreuse tail in the stroller. We pulled those with 2 1/8s going 1.2, and man, those fish, it's kind of a neat thing. Half those fish, they would just about take it out of the rod holders when they would hit it so hard. And then also, it was really light bites, and you don't really think of light bites when it comes to long line trolling, but those fish would literally grab it, keep swimming with the bait. Quit yawning, that's rude. They would swim with the bait, so you just barely see the pole tips bend back and kind of load up, and you'd have to set the hook. Another little tip on that is pole selection. I was using the B&M Pro Staff trollers, and what I really like about this pole for when it comes to long lining is the tip action. Those light bites, and you don't really think of light bites whenever it comes to long line trolling, but I could see those light bites, see those poles load up, and then we'd set the hook. So don't always wait for just a thundering hit. You will miss a lot of fish if you do it that way. So whenever you're long line trolling, make sure you have a pole that has enough of a soft tip to actually bend and see these light bites. It's really critical on tougher days when it comes to catching crappie, when it comes to long line trolling. Another little thing that I picked up on that day, which is very unusual, as that day progressed, I tied on a 1/4 and a 1/16. And I really started noticing that I started catching most of the fish on the top hook. And like I said, I had a 1/4 on the bottom and a 1/16 up top. And the only really difference that I could ever pick up on, because I was using the same colored jig bodies and everything else, was the blade size. I did really feel like they were picking up on a smaller blade compared to the bigger size 1/4 blades that I had on there. Now, I think you probably could even caught them without a blade at all, but they seemed like a smaller blade up there last week. I did pick up on that detail and actually talked to some other guys that were fishing up there with us as well, and they kind of reaffirmed that. Ross Barnett, we're in a great summertime pattern right now. And like today, which we had a lot of storms that moved through Mississippi, but I was able to get on the water to about 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, and they're still holding really tight on structure, anywhere from, I'm going to say, 10 foot of water on out to about 18 is really where I'm trying to key up on. Early time in the morning time, I'm really looking at the shallower ledges, the shallower top side of the ledge, and as the sun comes up, they're actually moving down the ledge on the deeper structure. And the bait of choice, it's been that way, and I really don't think it's going to change anytime soon, is the itty bit slab hunters. And I'm casting doubles with 2 1/16 ounce jig heads on there, and anything that has a lot of orange on it, just for me anyway, is Grenada Gold, Horsefly, Cajun Cricket. Those 3 colors right there, you will catch fish on Ross Barnett right now if you're casting to them, in my mind. It's just been
something about that orange in the summer. Even in Clearwater, same story here.
If you look back for me, and orange has just been a dominant color on the Ross Barnett for me this particular year, more than years past, even. And I think these lakes almost go in cycles where they really key on colors more than other years. Now, years past, I can recall blue and chartreuse being really predominant on Ross Barnett. And then even, I'm talking 10 years ago, the color Vegas, I don't know if whoever's really familiar with Bobby Garland colors, but that's like a purple pink color, was just a really dominant color for me as well. But if you guys ever notice something like that, let me know in the comments and we'll talk about that. That's actually a really cool subject to me, is color. I know when Live Scope come out, everybody said really color's not a big deal. And,
yeah,
I can agree with them to the point that if you're live scoping and you're setting that bait inside those fish's mouth, I can totally agree with that. But I'm talking about an aggressive, chase it down, eat it, bite. I believe color is a really big factor. At least it is for me.
I agree.
And then I'm gonna throw it out to Dustin, and we'll get some today's bite.
Yeah, Grand Lake. All I'm sticking to has been super busy on Grand still, and I was telling you it's starting to finally push into brush. You could catch fish on brush, and it definitely is now. I think from now until September-ish, we're going to be in a summer pattern, and that they start really shallow, and then the further summer goes on, the deeper they get. So right now they're 9 to 10 foot of water, and on brush or any stick ups is going to have your better size fish. A lot of people are having problems out here weaving through a lot of short fish. Yeah, they have to be 10 inches to keep out here. And yesterday I ran a trip and found shallow laydowns and just stick ups and just was beating up super good fish, 12, 13 inch fish. For Grand, that's good fish. And it just seems like the brush is holding the bigger fish, and then you can get in numbers on docks, and deeper brush has a ton of small fish too. So they'll all start lining up and getting in the same schools, and they're starting to now, to where you just have to set on them and catch what you catch. Kind of get what you get and don't throw a fit type of deal, because you'll catch a big one and then 3 or 4 small ones, then another keeper, and you just keep going. So we're catching over 100 a trip easily, but to get the keepers, it's not easy. We have to keep on catching them until we get them. And today we actually caught, by noon, we had a 60 piece of keepers. So it's doing good, and I have no complaints. I think we had to move twice, so we caught 40 something the first place, and then finished our limit off at the second.
Do you feel like the spawn's completely done with there, or?
Oh yeah, it's all over. It's done. Finally. Yeah. I can tell too, because the numbers of fish that are finally starting to get on the summer spots are just blowing up. I mean, they're getting way more than usual. It's been 100 to 200 fish. Now it's 1,000. So I think everything's finally pulling off on structure and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can hear my wife's phone ringing in the background there, but
oh, that's good. What a rookie deal there.
Well, I know. I'm slacking a little bit. I want to catch this question from Michael Drake, and I want to help him out real quick. He's asking, does all the live scope? Let me get my cursor out of the way. Does live scope and all the other screens have all the other screens that a fish finder have? Now, the Garmin units, you need to make sure you buy the one that has transducers as far as a standard. As far as live scope, it's a transducer that's just particular for forward-facing sonar or perspective, but it's a totally independent transducer compared to anything else. So to answer your question, I would say no, it does not. Yeah. But also, like I said,
that screen will, though, with a different transducer, it'll run.
Right, but you'll have to add on, make sure you get the transducers with every unit you purchase with that goes.
You can get all of it on the same unit, but live scope itself doesn't show nothing else. Yeah.
Right. It's just going to do the live scope, the Panoptics feature, and as far as that goes. Guys, as you're out there, John Mayo, what's up, bro? Got to hang out with John Mayo last week.
We need fishing reports.
Yeah, I see one, but we want some more, fellas.
I haven't seen many coming in. John Mayo, he's probably been popping with Sardis with the crew at.
Yep.
Any 2-pounders out there when you were with Sardis?
I didn't catch a 2-pounder while I was there. It was we caught some 14.5-inch fish. They're just on the tail end of the spawn too. But I can tell you something that I noticed different about Sardis fish, and I don't, I think it's just genetically different, is those fish up there have mouths like a hippo. I mean, when their mouth comes up and you're pulling a jig, I swear to God, a 13-inch fish looks like it has a mouth like that.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that out there with those Mississippi fish. Seems like
they have gigantic mouths.
They're super long and skinny. It seems like they're really big frame, but not a lot of weight on them this time of year. Let's see. Somebody said, Pat Robbins, last week y'all talked about crappie gorging out on mayflies and may affect the bite. Do you think that could do the same thing on shad? Absolutely. Yes. Grand Lake gets. Honestly, I'm noticing it now. I'll sit on a giant school of fish, and we're not catching near what we should, but they're gorging on small fry. So when I say that, you'll see them come through these schools of fish or in the brush, and it'll just be a big fuzzball. And they'll come up shallow sometimes too, and they're little bitty. But those crappie are gorging themselves on that. So same thing as mayflies. The bite will slow way, way, way down right now. And there's spots that you run that I feel like those shad that he's talking about, or the fry I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. There's your fry. But the fry I'm talking about, certain places don't get hit as much with that fry, so you can catch fish and they're a little bit more aggressive. But it seems like main areas with that fry going through, if you have 100 fish there, you might catch 5 or 10. So it gets super tough. And yeah, like he just said, that little slab hunter, kind of the reason we'll be throwing something like that in the summer. And my bait of the week was kind of the same thing, but it's the Swimar, but it's just a tiny profile, because that's kind of the size that we have at Grand of those fry. They're that small, if not smaller. And when I'm cleaning these fish, they've got a ball of them in them. So they're just gorging on them. And that's the Cajun cricket with some orange, and then electric chicken, the same size. And that will crack them good. But yeah, when you go down to the slab hunter with that little tail action, it's doing exactly what that fry is doing. I'm talking identical. It fits right in. They'll just come up and pop it. And like you said, sometimes it's such a soft bite, but they will eat it. They'll just come up and inhale it.
Well, I'm going to get this question. Like I said, if you got questions, throw them out there, and I promise you, I'm going to try to get to them as I see them as well, and kind of scroll back up. Brad Egger, I seen his. He's asking me, what do you do when you snag up long line and crankbaits as well? You know, the sad news of that is it's not good. You know, I'm going to grab that rod and I'm going to point it directly towards the hang up. I'm not going to have the rod at a odd angle or anything else. I'm going to point the tip of the pole to the hang up, and then I'm going to do the old bowstring aspect, and I'm going to pop it. Bad news is if that don't work, it is probably going to break off. Just to be completely honest when it comes to things. And I had somebody, I believe, and I think Gabe already answered them, but they're asking about the new Crappie Connection hoodies. And we're going to talk about this whole subject line here too tonight. But this is the new Crappie Connection hoodies. And I will tell you, we have limited stock. So we don't have a couple hundred of these. We've got very few. So if you want to get one of these, post some good pictures of them with them. Go to Crappie Forever's website. So it's crappieforever.com. And I think we've got a wide range of sizes from medium all the way up to 3X. But like I said, we have very limited stock because we didn't want to go all in without knowing if you guys would actually like them or not. But I can tell you firsthand that I wear a sun hoodie every single day while I'm fishing. This is the typical look while I'm fishing. Not like a mask man, but I can tell you from ears and everything else, it's a must have for me when it comes to crappie fishing is a long sleeve and a hoodie. But that's where you can catch those at. Let me see if we got any questions before we go on to today's bite fishing reports from you guys. So as you see them, come on.
Someone asked if they could still hold eggs. His water is mid 70s. There's not a lot, but they're still holding them for sure. You can even get fish in the summer, dead of summer, having eggs in them, but some just don't dump all their eggs. They'll kind of absorb some. You still see some empty sacks, but some are dwindled way down, but still have some eggs in them. So I don't think they dump all of their eggs. Not every fish will. And you'll just find some with real gray looking eggs and just different. Some will hold them though.
Reggie Hillman, that's what we talked about last, scoping behind the boat while long line. Ever considered turning transducer 180 on trolling motor when long lining? Friend and I were discussing this. You know, it would be pretty cool just to see the reaction of the fish when it comes to pulling jigs and how they're reacting to them. I haven't done it, but it definitely would be capable of doing. I think your best way to do that, if you wanted to do that when it comes to crankbaits or long line trolling, would be those pole applications where you can actually put it in the back of the boat closer to those jigs, one thing. And then, you know, as you're long lining, you want to watch your pole tips instead of look, if you've got your transducer and everything off your trolling motor, even if you turned it completely to a 180, I think your best bet, if that's what you wanted to do, and I think it would be really, really cool to do as well, would be buy a pole mount. I know Cornfield Fishing has some really good ones that they're starting to put out right now that, you know, I've even considered that just for the fun of it. You know, seeing the reactions of the fish and seeing them come up and bite those jigs. I know that's probably one of the most exciting things for me right now is watching these fish come up and attack these baits whenever we're casting to them or, you know, single poling them. So I think it'd be really fun to do though, but I don't know if I would do it on the trolling motor off the front.
For sure. Carl Dearman asks what color jig heads I use for the Cajun cricket and electric chicken. I like a pink head with the electric chicken and then an orange head with Cajun cricket. I like to just match it up, but I use the Crappie Pro Moglo Crappie Pro jig heads. But they have I match those colors with it. I also like a blue with the electric chicken, a blue jig head. It looks kind of funky, but I've got them well with it. So just whatever you have confidence in.
Even I like everything but pink.
Normal lead head will kill them too. So either way.
I like everything but pink.
Everything but pink.
Everything
I like pink's one of our main colors out here on Grand, but yeah, I like pink. Sometimes I'll just use a pink jig head with a mineral a lot too.
No, you won't find that in my boat. I do not use a color selector. Now some of these other guys can chime in on that as well, but I've seen some guys use it. But the only thing I really trust, and not to doubt that product might work great, is just watching your poles and watching what the fish are actually telling you. And that's one reason, from pulling crankbaits to casting to single poling or anything else you're doing, if you start picking it up on and on getting a bite on baits, I always try to fine tune it. Just like this color, if I catch a fish on this bait, I'm gonna automatically see if they're wanting the orange or the chartreuse better. So in turn, I'm gonna put on a solid chartreuse on some and see how they react, and put on, say, like a Cajun cricket to see if they react. I'm kind of that greedy fisherman. I'm always looking for a better bite, and I think a lot of times we as fishermen will kind of settle and say, "All right, well they're biting this color really good. I'm not going to change up any." But like I said, I'm kind of a greedy fisherman because I want to catch as many fish as I can while I'm out on the lake. So in turn, I'm going to try some solid orange, which would be the Cajun cricket. And then also I'm going to try some solid chartreuse baits to see if that's actually the ticket. And some days it's just those combination of those two colors together. So, but always keep changing it up and keep on going and see if you can get a little bit finer detailed.
Larry Farmer said, summertime pattern showing on Cypress Lake near Benton, Louisiana. I used the 16th to 32nd to catch roamers. Natural colors early, and then the Cajun cricket when the sun gets up, 2-inch Bobby Garland. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate you using Bobby Garland's, and thanks for the fishing report, brother.
Yep. And as you guys, if you order from LureNet, and I've had a few of our friends or Cropper Brotherhood do it, but if you're ordering baits, let them know, hey, we seen about these baits and these colors on today's bite on the Crappie Connection, and give us a little pump up with those guys, because I'm telling you that they really support us and help us do this thing every week. So show them some love whenever you're doing some orders, and make sure you let them know that
for sure
you heard from these colors or these styles.
For Bobby Garland guys, we wouldn't be here. So big shout out to them as always.
Clay Blair, that's the first time I've seen you on here, Clay, man. What's up? I'm glad you joined us, brother. Clay was up at the Crappie compound last week.
Hey, Tim knows what's up. He said pink jig heads 80% of the time. My man, I'm probably there too.
Evan, still on the res, struggling without scope. Now, I can tell you can catch a lot of fish right now on the res if you're concentrating on the river channel, on big size stumps. And even if you don't, we caught fish forever without live scope, but my favorite month to pull crankbaits on Ross Barnett is June. So that might be another technique that you want to look at, Evan, and get out there and catch some fish. I know there was a lot of people last week at Sardis pulling from crankbaits to jigs and everything else. So it's still a really productive way to fish. So don't let not having live scope slow you down. Get out there and throw some jigs behind your boat or throw some crankbaits.
Michael Drake said if you were to take PVC pipe, make a square, and attach a small tarp, how long do you think it would take for crappie to head to shade underneath it, whether it would have a couple days or hours? Man, I've noticed when I build my own structure and throw it out, if it's in the right location, they will be there within a couple hours. But I like to also think that the longer it sets and grows all that moss and everything that has natural stuff on it underwater, it starts to tend to carry more fish. So I would say don't be afraid to fish it immediately. But after 1 year, you'll be set for good.
You know, on that same, I think it's all about location. It's kind of like fishing. You know, if you drop it in the right spot. I know the guys from Toledo Bend, when we did a podcast with them last year about sinking structure, they said they would watch, you know, they've seen them actually as they're being dropped, fish come get on them. And I think that's just about having it in the key spot on the water, wherever it's going to be at. Read Travis's report. He's one of your Oklahomies.
I don't see it on there, brother. You're going to have to cover me. Oh, Durant City. Durant City. Oh, I just lost it. You popped it up and I lost it. Go ahead, buddy.
What about it? All right, Travis. Durant City, Oklahoma. Caught fish in 8 to 12 foot of water, dipping timber. Found a few brush piles that were absolutely loaded down with short fish. A few keepers mixed in. Pulled out a 242 for the big fish of the lake. That's a slab.
242 of the hog. Hey, that lake's got some hogs in it too, Travis. So thanks for that fishing report. I always wondered about that bad boy. Ken's told me a lot about it.
You know, and I'm going to try to get down to everybody. Make sure I ain't got any questions. But, you know, tonight's subject line, we're going to talk about a wide range of products that I believe that helps you stay on the lake longer and safer and everything else, just like I kind of mentioned in what I'm wearing tonight. But, you know, sun hoodies is a big deal for me. Like I said, I won't go fishing today without a sun hoodie.
I got the same one just from Power Crappie. Ken hooks me up with these good he has amazing sun hoodies out as well. These Power Crappie ones they're long sleeve, keep you cool in the sun, and being out there all day every day, you need something like that. So for sure. You
know what goes hand in hand with these sun hoodies would be sunscreen. And like I said, some of you guys that haven't been in crappie fishing this long, hopefully you can hear some of these stuff that I absolutely is a must-have for me, and we'll listen to some of Dustin's must-haves as far as going crappie fishing in the heat. I like that. What is that about? You know, but I have a couple different things that I consider must-haves when it comes to summertime crappie fishing. I said the sun hoodies, sunscreen, and also here I've got them on my. And I'm so used to wearing sunglasses. I'm not quite to the Todd Huckabee level when it comes to sunglasses, or the Hank Jr. level when it comes to sunglasses. But I absolutely love sunglasses because it protects my eyes. I don't know if you've ever gotten off the water and had a terrible headache. So if you don't have a good pair of fishing sunglasses, look at the Hook and Bullet. These guys support the crappie fishing industry. They support us, the Crappie Connection, as well. And they're absolutely great sunglasses. And I've had every kind of brand out there. And these are really good fishing sunglasses. So look at the Hook and Bullet. Another thing that I have on my boat that just makes it a little nicer is a battery-powered fan. And I know you've got DeWalt, you've got Ryobi, you've got a couple of different brands out there. I've got a Milwaukee. I absolutely – it makes it so much nicer if you can flip over there and just on these hot dog days of summer, click that fan on, have it blowing on you, and it'll make you stay out there a little longer and fish. And that's how everybody is limited on time. So another suggestion I would have, if you don't have one yet, is look at these battery operated fans. They're just absolutely wonderful. Another thing that I do that I don't know if everybody's doing, and I'm sure – you know, John Mayo and a lot of these guys, and even Dustin, is two good coolers. I don't carry one cooler. I carry two coolers every single day. One, of course, is for your drinks. And I'm going to show you another product that I use every day in the heat.
I'm glad most of my clients aren't watching this because I'd really get a hard time that you bring this up.
What?
I always bring one cooler for the fish, but I bank on my clients to bring me drinks and snacks. I'm always mugging my clients for a drink or snacks or anything because I always get a water in the morning, but it's hot by like 9 a.m. So I'm like, oh man, my water's hot, hoping because I see their cooler full of stuff that they'll offer me a water. You know what I'm saying?
My Lord. My Lord. But, you know, I have a drink cooler, then I also have a cooler, especially when it's summertime, for the fish that we're going to keep. Throw them on ice immediately. These fish will spoil so quick. in this heat. And I know Oklahoma gets pretty warm out there as well, and so does anything in the South. We get so hot so quick, you can ruin your catch if you don't take care of it. So I always have a bag of ice, throw a bunch of fish on it, and then actually I lift that bag of ice up and pour the ice on top of those fish to chill them down. Another thing, quick tip about far as cleaning fish wise is chill them out for 24 hours. Have plenty of ice on them for about 24 hours. Keep the water drained off, and they will clean 10 times easier if you do that. You won't waste near amount of fish if you can get them really cold, really quick, and then try to fillet them.
And that blood actually coagulates out of them. So when you clean them, that meat is already so clean. If you leave it for a day, it makes a huge difference. That meat is really clean when you pull those fillets off, compared to just pulling them off fresh.
Another thing that I use when I get out of the boat and start heading home every afternoon, and like I said, these are products that I just believe that helps me fish in the heat, is a liquid IV. You know, all you got to do is pour this little packet into a bottle of water, and I can tell you it keeps me from crashing. I seen John Mayo was using them the other day too up at Sardis, but I usually drink that big bottle of water with the liquid IV on my way home, and I feel fine. It keeps me from dehydrating, and that's the main thing while you're out there fishing in the summertime heat is try not to dehydrate, because you will sweat so much so fast. Especially, like you guys probably heard me say it more than once, is I like dark colored hoodies so I can see the screen better. So I'm wearing a darker color, and so that'll help me out there as well. And before I steal all the thunder, I'm gonna let Dustin kind of. What's some of your must-haves?
You're good, man. You're a lot more seasoned than I am on the hotness and stuff, and I'm young and dumb. So I just run and gun all the time, usually running a little behind. So I don't got time to grab all that stuff. I just go and wing it. But I do have, even today, I have a bimini top on my boat. So that makes a big difference, putting it on there, keeping the shade. My boat is aluminum, so that metal will get really hot if I don't throw up some shade. And that is a lifesaver. So when people want to just go chill out, cool down, take a drink of water, that shade is a big deal. So umbrella, bimini top, I would definitely prefer y'all to get that. But other than that, I try to cover everything up. I also had a big skin cancer deal removed on my back and already got laced open. I'm way too young for that, I guess. So I got to start paying a lot more attention. But I do try to sunscreen before I go out in the morning. In the truck, even though I'm always having a hood on and all that, I put it on the back of my ears because I've had places on them get zapped and stuff. So I've been just, I slap it on my ears and face, kneecaps, just places I always get burnt real good. And I'll put it on. But other than that, I don't have any fan, but that's my next purchase is an outdoor fan. I want one of those big ones that blow the mist. That's the one I kind of want. Yeah. I've been looking them up. I'm like, man, that might be a game changer this summer.
Well, what are you going to put in it? You have no water in the boat.
Hey, I know, but the clients, I tell them to bring snacks and drinks, But hey, what I say too is if I bring that fan, people are liable to want to stay longer.
Oh, Lord.
You don't want people getting too comfortable or you don't want to stay too long. You know what I'm saying? So my seats are kind of uncomfortable a little bit. I'm just teasing you guys. No, we have a blast, but it is as far as the hotness goes, we try to start early. That's another thing I would recommend. Get out there when the sun's just coming up, and you'll have about 3 hours of good feeling weather. But as soon as that sun gets up about 10:30, 11 o'clock, you'll start getting scorched. So start early if you can, and drink plenty of water, which I need to definitely work on.
I'm going to catch on this real quick. Shane Bass is asking thoughts on a 0 degree trolling motor for your trolling motor. Do you use a standard or a 0 degree mount?
I have a 0 degree, but I would use a standard either way. I like them both. I am actually borrowing Ken's transducer now, his backup, and it has a 0 degree that someone built for him, and it works great, just as well. So the 0 degree is nice. And I just told him, he's probably watching this, that there is a 0 degree mount for the new transducers, isn't there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He was getting pumped about that. So he'll snag him one. He loves the 0 degree.
I agree. I like a 0 degree. The only thing bad about a 0 degree whenever you're casting is that it is so tight if you're using a 34 that that cone is really
You got to
keen
have it tight.
together.
A thing with the degree is if you're fishing really deep, 40, 50 foot deep, I would definitely recommend a 0 degree. But if you're fishing shallow, you're never getting past that 20-foot mark. Either one works fine. But if you're going to do it, 0 degrees is definitely easier because the arrow on your transducer, it's right where it's looking. But when you get that degree, you got to start finagling it and teaching yourself to be off one way or the other. So it's kind of a no-brainer there.
Yeah, Tony, I was out there today in the storms, which we got off the lake before it got really bad out there. But we fished, and I guess even a good thing to throw around with the summertime topics is, have an app on your phone that can show you a radar. And that's really year round, but it seems like to me these summertime storms, they'll pop up so quick.
Yeah.
And
that's why
I
think that dang radar don't do you no good though. Because I mean them things when it is too late when it tells you that storm's there, you see it coming over the trees. It's like, oh,
mine will give me a warning. It'll say, all right, lightning in the area or 15 minutes, moderate rain or heavy rain or whatever. But that's another little tidbit. If you're not using it yet, look into some of these different apps you can have on your phone.
For sure. And another just off-topic summer thing to have is for the younger kids that are just getting off of school for the summer, slip cork, a bobber works real well. We're going to go over some equipment, and I'll show you how I use that. But we use a slip cork a lot in the summer too now. So I used it a lot in the spring, but a good buddy of mine kind of turned me on to using these slip corks in the summer.
Grizzly 59, I'm going to pull this question up and I'll read it out, and Dustin can elaborate too on it. He said he watched the crappie connection, and the guest said it wasn't a good idea to have your side view transducer mounted on your trolling motor. Can you talk about that? I don't know exactly what episode you're talking about there. And I think as far as transducers, if you're talking about like a live sonar transducer, I think it goes back to what techniques that you're wanting to do with this live sonar. If you're wanting to chase down open water fish, it mounted on a trolling motor is just about a must-have. If you're going to fish for open suspended fish, if you're going to fish for brush piles and something that's stationary targets where the fish would be stationary at, a pole mount's fine. But if you're open water fish, I think it's, in my opinion, absolutely necessary to have it on your trolling motor.
Well, he was saying the side view transducer. Like, so having your side imaging on your front transducer of your trolling motor, right? So
we'll see.
So what I would say on that is if he's talking about having your side imaging up front, the reason you wouldn't need that is because if you're having your live scope up there with it, you can already cover what you can see with your side imaging. Like when you're spinning your trolling motor, you're going to cover anything you can see with side imaging, and live scope's faster looking at it. So you're kind of just holding yourself back trying to watch it. But if you're using side imaging and don't have live scope, you can use it up front if you wanted to, if your trolling motor's fast enough. But you can do the same thing back of the console. So that's probably what they were saying about not having it.
And ask us something else about that. If we didn't hit that for you, we'd be glad to even elaborate a little bit more.
Live scope covers all of that, but unless you don't have live scope, then side imaging up there will work. But as far as he's saying, does he need side imaging along with his live scope, I believe, up front? Why would you not have one on your trolling motor? And it's because you don't want to probably get up front and use all that when you could just sit back at the back and use it. So we'll see if that's it.
Billy Noble got a Lake Fork fish report, call limit of 25 Wednesday on minnows in 22 foot of water. Appreciate that, Billy, for your report.
Well, Uncle Darrell wants to know more about that slip cord. I'll show you actually about this slip cord. We were going to go over equipment, and another thing I struggle with is getting this dang line not to wrap up and go absolutely nuts. My clients kind of struggle. A lot of them don't use this type of reel a lot. This is the Abu Garcia that I got from Academy. I think it's like $40, but my quantums are still out in the boat. They kind of get the hard end of the stick. This is a brand new setup. Just used it today, and it put them in the boat big time. But the line, I just have been trying all kinds of things to get it perfect, and I finally think I'm on something because 2 times the pattern. So I need to do it one more time for it to work. This is Suffolk's monofilament, and it's 6 pound. And I soaked it in hot water for about 30 minutes to an hour.
Yep.
Soaked it in hot water, let it soak, and then put it on here, and it was flat like braid. No memory, nothing tangles out when it's going. I had no issues. That bobber likes to spin sometimes and flip around, and I had 0 issues today. So super pleased with that. Soaking the line in water before you put it on, so far, that's a game changer. I've bought all kinds of line and tried all kinds of ways, and a lot of times my clients, when they let all that line out to go down, they go to reel up and there's too much slack and it just twists my line like crazy. Yeah. So far today was good. And I had not a veteran using it. So it was working really well. But this is a slip cork setup that we use a lot. And it's just a gold eagle claw hook, a number 4. This is a number 2, a number 1 and 2. I'm not super picky on the hook size, but a 2 will work good. A number 4 split shot. Now these split shots are special. These are the ones without the clamps on the back. Okay, so they're just circle all the way around. And I just did that. See, there's no tongue on the back, no grooves. And the reason for that is the tangling. That your minnow and line wants to get tangled on them things so bad. So I have way better luck without those clamp sinkers. So number 4 on that. And then any old bobber stop string, not the rubber. If you use your rubber stops, you can't cast very smooth at all. But as far as that, man, that slip cork, that's a Thiel 7/8. I looked it up because I remember John Mayo asking me. That's a 7/8 Thiel bobber. It's killer. And that water line sets about perfect in between where that chartreuse and white meets. And I don't know how many clients are just amazed when I can tell them.
Why is that important?
Do what?
Why is that important?
Where the water line sits?
Yeah.
Because if you see that thing go down at all, I mean, if that chartreuse starts to go under at all, you have a fish on. And
what if you see white?
Do what?
What about white? Seeing that white?
Well, if you see the white, you got a fish too. Yeah. So if it lays, here's what my favorite bite, 9 times out of 10 so far, it's been a keeper. If that green piece that I've got, that string comes up, that bobber sets straight up. It'll set straight up every time. When that bobber comes up and lays flat, 9 times out of 10, that's a keeper. It's a bigger fish. I can't quite put why, but if it feeds straight up and it slacks it out and that bobber sits flat, and my clients, I love when they really freak out because I'm like, really? And you got one? They're like, what? And they'll reel it in. There's a nice fish on it usually. And they feed up and they come up towards the pole, but 9 times out of 10, that's a big one. It doesn't happen, but maybe 10 times a day. But when it does, it's a good fish. But other than that, even those crappie love to just slowly take that bobber will go down just about 1/4 and 1/2 inch. And that means you got one, you got to set it. But as far as that, I've kind of got to where I'm making them wait for the bobber to go down though, because I get them real gun shy. And if that bobber just jumps at all, they'll whack that, they'll set it real hard. And a lot of times they'll tap those minnows and just tease on it. So do let it kind of go down. But sometimes the bobber will just it'll go at a little bit of an angle, start leaving a little bit. If it starts moving left to right at all, set that bad boy. Yanks are free. But yeah, that's a killer summer setup, especially in clear water. I feel like clear water, it works a lot better than it does murky water. But for sure, this monofilament line, 6 pound, it worked great today. The line goes through smooth and everything works. So far we got a good system on that slip cork.
I see some people asking about the phone app when it comes to that, and there's a bunch of them out there. Now I use a weather app for the wind, and then also I use a weather app called My Radar, and I don't know if it'll show on the screen or not, but you can see it's on the. I don't know. It's hard to show on the right there at my fingertip, but it's called My Radar, and it'll show you storms and actually give you notifications if you turn them on whenever a storm is approaching you.
Don't show us all those apps, Brad. We probably don't need to see half of them.
Hey, Chad Webb uses the same one. What's up there, Carlos? What's going on, man?
And I have braided setups on that slip cork setup. Also, it works great too. So both ways works great. It's just an easier way for people. Do what?
I did a podcast when he's touched back on that side imaging question.
Oh, yeah.
We did a podcast this weekend or last week on side imaging tips. that'll be out this summer as well. And Jeffrey actually brought it up on this YouTube comment is a good reason not to run it on your trolling motor shaft unless you just go perfectly straight. But if you start turning that trolling motor left and right, it will kind of stretch that image out. So that would be one of the downfalls of using it on a trolling motor. And that's a very good point, Jeffrey.
Good point. I knew that. I was just seeing if someone else could kind of chime in a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
There's a good report. Rod B, 2/4 ounce minnow sparky heads, purple and chartreuse fin spin curly tails was #1 bait, running 0.7, fishing edge of river channel. Big girls were hooked in the throat, southeast Missouri. What lake there, Rod B?
That was a good one.
I like it.
Chip Lott said he caught a big one at Hudson today or the other day. That's one of the guys around here too. Chip, I appreciate you chiming in and watching us tonight.
Yep, Chris, those crappie Forever Sun hoodies are the best, waiting on a maroon 3X plus size fella crappie snatcher. They have some great colors. Chris, hey man, you need the crappie connection sun hoodie too. We got it in 3X. All right, some folks don't know the difference between fluorocarbon and mono. I can tell you a few differences when it comes to that, Pat. In my mind, in my opinion, when it comes to fluorocarbon versus mono, what do you sit back like? What do you sit back like that for?
I don't know, dude. I just pictured you saying, "Well, one's called fluorocarbon and one's called monofilament."
One fluorocarbon doesn't have a lot of stretch to it. It's almost like a braid feel to me. Another thing, it sinks, so it won't float. So if you're wanting to get down faster or actually get your bait down quicker and have a little bit more sensitivity, fluorocarbon is really good for that. I would never use for a long line fluorocarbon because it doesn't have any stretch. So there's certain techniques that you won't stretch and certain techniques that you necessarily don't want stretch. Another downfall, in my opinion, is the wintertime fishing. If it gets below really, I'd say 40 degrees water temp, I would shy away from fluorocarbon. Simple fact, it's porous and it can freeze inside the line itself. And whenever you set the hook, it will snap.
Didn't know that.
I had two buddies of mine, and John Lee's probably on here tonight, and Cody Hamilton. I remember they used fluorocarbon right when it came out, spider rigging, and they kept snapping it during the tournament, setting the hook. And come to find out later down the road, it was so cold that it was actually snapping because of the line holds that water molecules and freezes up and becomes weak. So that's. What about you, Dustin? What do you think?
What I think between the differences?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just know the floating. I like to snipe with fluoro because it's a lot stiffer, a little bit meaner. Everything, like you said, is quicker. And then monofilament, I don't use it near as much. Like I said, this is kind of a little tester here with the slip cork, but I don't like too much give on it unless I have real aggressive people setting the hook a little too hard. Sometimes give a little bit on crappie is good because we can be too rough on them. So monofilament can be good as well. Whatever you prefer and have confidence in, you can catch them with both just as well.
Yeah, Andy, don't forget that Amber Romance bug spray. We had to put a little bit on us today. Even we had a few gnats, and I've had a lot of people ask me about the Amber Romance over the last week. And I see the little short that crappie now.
I saw that. That was good. That was good.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is.
That's Stan Stifer. What's going on, brother? Looks like
that's
another fishing machine, man. He asked if I was going to Truman for that tournament this weekend. I will not be there, man. I'm actually going to do a little getaway vacation with the wife. We're going to go to Branson, so I will be missing out on that tournament. But good luck to you all, and I hope you put it on. Hope you do good.
Rod, he was talking about Wallapalo Lake in Missouri when that comes to their report. Very good report there, Rod.
Oh, here we go.
Hey, James, appreciate that UK crappie connection. Appreciate that, brother.
Carl,
I'm trying to catch up.
Carl Dearman said, What about high vis 4-pound Mr. Crappie line? He uses on his dock. I just didn't see where he said he uses it, but I'm not a fan of Mr. Crappie line. I've had nothing but issues with it. But if you find a good spool, then it probably works. But 4 pounds a little light for me too. I break way too much at 6 pounds, so I can't imagine 4 pound. That's getting a little too light for me because I like to just pick my fish up with the pole and bring them to me. So 6 pound is about the lightest I would go. 6 to 8 pound is perfect. But you can get away with we found out you can get away with 10, 12, 14 pound lines. So if I was fishing the dock, which I do a lot, I would say 6 pound would be the smallest that I would go, because you don't want to lose that fish of a lifetime if you catch one. Even those big 14, 15 inchers, that's a lot of weight on that line. If it's a 2 pounder, you got a good chance of breaking that line if you're picking it up over and not netting them. A lot of times too, they'll pull you under those docks and rub your line on stuff and can weaken it and break it too. So I would up my line a little bit if I were you.
Mama Hammer just texted me. She's asking me where I'm wearing sunglasses. I think it was just about the subject line tonight. And speaking on that.
Oh, here we go. You said you had something.
Speaking on that, congratulations to the Hammer and Papa Hammer. They come down and come from behind and won that MCC state championship.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. He's a very, very strong competitor, as everybody in the nation knows already, Mr. Hayden and Dan Jeffries. So congratulations to the fellas.
That was good work right there.
The Hammer laid it down again. So it wasn't really no shocker.
He won it, but you were telling me he was down day one. And then
I think he was down to 6th place and come back and probably put a 2.5, 3 pound lead back on everybody with his day.
Not surprised whatsoever. I wonder if he'll fish Truman this weekend or not.
I don't think so. So if anybody's wondering that, I don't believe so. I think his next one, Hayden and I talk just about every single day on the way to the boat ramps and kind of compare what's going on in the lake. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to, not spoiler alert or whatever, but Toledo being the next place he's going. If my memory is right, Hayden, you should be watching. You should be listening. You should be contributing. Hey, come on, Hammer. Get with the program, Hammer.
He's trying to learn my slip cork setups, what he's doing.
That's what I think it is, too.
What line you recommend in the winter? He's asking. I told him that 4 pound little light probably in his dock. What would you recommend for just small line dock fishing?
I use 6 pound mono. Probably if I'm going to use mono, unless it's spider hook and heavier cover, I'm going to use 6 pound test 95% of the time.
That's what I'd say. Suffix is good for me right now. Suffix works.
I like
great.
Suffix.
Suffix is braid and monofilament is amazing. So if you find 6 pound Suffix and it's all one or the other, they're starting to get shady with their covering it with fluorocarbon, this and that. It's just straight. Get you straight monofilament or straight braid 6 pound. You won't regret it. I promise, man. You can fish braid in that dock too, but I'd say 6 to 8 pound. I'll be dropping that down there. And I don't know, high vis, unless it's for your eyes, you don't have to have it either. But high vis don't spook them. So if you get high vis Suffix, you'll be set.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sulfix. It's been a good line. K9 has a really good line out there as well.
Yeah.
And along with numerous other brands as well. It's kind of like rods. There's so many great rod companies out there right now. We're really fortunate in the crappie fishing industry that we have so many great rods. Too many to name even. I know like Dustin, he uses Power Crappie.
That's right.
Great poles. Will never hear me say anything negative about them. They're great poles.
Or the owner.
and Mr. Ken. And, I would have to say Miss K's a really good owner.
Oh, yeah. Dang right. You know that I learned my lesson last time. Miss K, let me tell you what my favorite rod is in the lineup. That would be the K rod, 16-footer.
Jason Clements, what's up, bro? Charles Henderson, 8 pound Berkeley Crystal.
I like it. I've also heard Vanish line works great too. So I don't know.
Do you mark your reel to know what pound line you have on them? I do not. Honestly, I guess I've been fishing with 6 pounds so much, I can actually probably feel the difference now. And I don't have a lot of different sizes laying around. I have 6 pound and I have a lot of it, and I have some 10 pound. Like I said, that's usually whenever I'm going to use 10 pound, it's going to be fishing a little bit heavier cover when it comes to spider rigging. But from casting jigs to long line trolling to regular spider rigging, I'm going to use 6 pound test. Shooting docks would be another good example. Now I do use the fluorocarbon whenever I am live scoping suspended fish. I've been using 15 or 20 pound fluorocarbon. And last I've got on right now is actually a 20 pound gamma, which is a really good line as well. Hey, Mr. Ken joined in.
His ears were burning a little bit, I think.
Yeah, maybe so. Somebody probably messaged him, say, "Hey,
yeah,
they're talking about you. You better get on there."
Gamma line, I think he likes that gamma too. He uses a lot of that braid. Ken, speaking of.
All right, I'm gonna go back. I got Ashley. She's asking a question here, guys. I'm trying to learn sniping. Have no drift paddles or crappie breaks. How fast you going looking for fish? And when you see one, you rotate trolling limit motor to stop or coast to the fish. Thanks.
All right.
That one.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, I sniped without any brake system for a while, at all. Not even the power brakes. I learned all that without it and competed with it. And I can tell you, you can do it just as good. You just can't go as fast. And when you stop, you have to stop in a special way so you don't backwash your fish. You kind of have to flutter your troll when you spin it around. When you spin your trolling motor around, you want to angle it a little bit and stop yourself so you don't blow it straight to where the fish is. But as far as how fast you can go is your preference. You know, I can probably go a lot faster than normal because I've taught myself how to do it. And the more you practice, the faster you can go. But I would start out really slow. Start out slow. When you see something, start fluctuating yourself, slowing yourself down. Not keeping eyes on that fish is kind of tough. So I would start as slow as you can and then work your way into getting comfortable with fishing it. But you want to almost stop your boat, and then you kind of have a little coast into it. I don't ever stop my boat completely. I'll just stop enough. It's kind of crazy, but when I turn it around, sometimes I won't stop fast enough and I'll turn back around and I'm going still too fast on the fish. I'll mark something on the water next to the boat, whether it's a little piece of fuzz from a tree floating or whatever it is. I'll turn my trolling motor around, hammer down on it, and I'll watch that thing floating beside the boat. And when it starts stopping with me, that means I've stopped the boat or almost stopped to where I can fluctuate it back. But pick you something out, whether it's the bank or anything. When you go to stop, make sure you're stopped before you turn it back around, because if you blow over the fish, that's when you get in trouble.
You know, another thing along those same lines too is I try to set my range out at the very least 80 feet. Most of the time, I'm going to set it out to 100 feet while I'm looking for fish in open water while I'm sniping, to say. Just like Dustin, I don't want to really prop wash that fish, so I'm going to kick it to one side and kick it to the next until I can get that boat to slow down. Another big key when it comes to sniping fish without any kind of brake system, and I don't have any on my boat, is always face into the wind. Yeah. That way it can actually kind of help as far as the braking system goes too. Yeah. And then, you know, different guys have different things, and if you're having a problem, slow down, tie a chain to the backside of your boat and kind of have it dragging behind you. So if you're having a problem blowing over fish, that actually work as a braking system. You know, we used a lot of chains when it comes to spider rigging back in the days. And the reason was to slow down and slow that boat down. So throw a chain out the back of the boat, and it's very easy to do. And that's a whole another thing. But
for sure, I would say if you don't have brakes on the back of that bad boy, but you've got a boat and you've got a live scope, I'd say splurge and get you a brake system on the back. That's the first thing I'd say. But if not, it's definitely doable.
Sean, he's asking about lithium batteries. Do you have any particular lithium batteries that you prefer? And yes, I've been using lithium batteries, I guess about 3 years now for my trolling. And I can tell you without doubt, I have confidence every day that my batteries aren't going to die. And that is a big thing especially when you fish for a living, is having good batteries day in and day out. I've been running lithiums for 3 years. check out Eagle Lithium by the mad scientist himself. I like to take the credit for naming him at least. Michael Sylvester, a buddy of mine.
Did
real
you name
good
him
guy.
with sunglasses on?
No. But he's a really good guy. He'll stand behind his products. If you ever have that issue, can't beat him. So look up Mad Science.
We got another question about brakes. Drift socks, good or bad?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with using a drift sock if you're having a problem with that. Throw your drift sock out the back of the boat, or two of them. One just never has done really a lot for me. So whenever I use drift socks, I usually use two out of the back of the boat, but they will work great for a braking system. The only thing bad about that is you're pulling against them as you're being trolled. Now, if a high wind and you need to slow down and do some different things, drift socks would work as well. I would prefer probably chains over drift socks, just a personal deal.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can catch anything else.
Oh, Pat Robbins said, let's talk about that mule you have mounted. Pat, I can't help but notice his crappie connection thing is actually kind of covering that fish, that bad boy up over there. Let me get him showing a little bit better. There he is.
My wife came up with a really, really funny nickname for Dustin tonight.
Oh, here we
Can
go.
anybody guess what would be a really good nickname for Dustin? We've got to make a nickname that actually sticks really hard for Dustin, so everybody can say AKA.
I got a feeling it's not going to be as cool as I was hoping it would be.
It's not as cool as you probably hope.
Gosh, dang it. I hope it wasn't nothing for me going silent last time.
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but it's kind of fitting.
Okay. I bet it's cheesy, real cheesy. I bet people ain't going to like it. I know everybody. You know what? Let's not even say it, and we'll work on a better one.
Oh, we can wait all this week and wait for next week. Today's bite and announce a good nickname.
Hey, freaking John Gathright says,
six fish. Hey, like that.
I weighed in those 6 at Grenada. He ain't let me leave it. Yeah. Eminem. I like Eminem. I like Eminem.
I like this subject line. Somebody look.
Sugar.
How about Goose?
I like Sugar, but Eminem's pretty dang good. Man,
how about Goose? That's another good nickname. Wouldn't Dustin need a very good nickname?
Hey, everybody is on it now. I'm telling you. Oh,
I can't wait to read some more of these comments that I know about to pop up. We've got Spider-Man. We've got Sugar, Six Fish.
Oh, who come up with Spider-Man? I bet that was Ken. If I had to guess. Who said Spider-Man?
That was Ken.
Oh, yeah. I knew that was coming.
Well, why wouldn't somebody nickname you Spider-Man?
I have a little bit of a fear of spiders. I hate saying the word.
That is great knowledge. I've learned it great tonight. New kid.
My God. Old greenhorn.
I like these. This is a fun topic.
Look, April already let the cat out of the bag. It's dusty.
No, it's not. This is going to be like a poll thing. I can actually do a poll.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think we've got right at about 45,000 followers on Facebook.
Ken said little. Ken said little. Ken, I'm far from little now, buddy. Slipknot.
Slipknot. Yeah, suckerfish.
Oh, Slipknot. Oh, slip cork. You're going to call me slip cork. This ain't funny anymore.
We've had two different people request suckerfish, so that's pretty good.
Gosh dang. Ken's last words standing in the boat. Are you sure there's 7 in the cooler? It really was. Ken said, you sure you got 7? I said, yeah. Little Slipknot. Man, that's funny. You guys are wearing me plumb out. They like this nickname thing, don't they?
I think it was a very good topic to bring in to close out the show tonight. It's been a very fun one. April suggested Dusty Dustin.
Yeah. Real funny. You know what it used to be? My in high school, the teachers, okay, because the teachers were a little cruel, but my last name's McDaniel, and they would call me McDouble or McJunior.
I like that.
McJunior. Yeah, McJunior. But I don't like that. That reminds me of the nasty old school days. Oh, hacksaw. Hey, a good buddy of mine calls me buckskin, and it freaking cracks me up.
Ooh, it gets you a very good nickname.
Ken just got me a really good one. You got him really stern. He's laughing so hard right now at his phone, I promise you. Prop killer. I've taken 3 of his props off of his boat.
Hey,
man.
We got
Daniel.
Daniel.
I like that. Daniel White says whoever wins the nickname contest gets a free Crappie Forever t-shirt.
Hey, we can make this really fun.
I think you throw a Crappie Connection hat in too. Willow. You guys are killing me.
And a hug from AKA who? We will find out.
Oh my gosh. You guys
Isn't this so fun for you, Dustin?
Yeah, I love it. I hope. Hey, there's a couple of pretty cool ones.
Willow. I like that one, Brad Edgar. That's a Willow. That's an awesome one too.
Weeping Willow. After y'all give me one.
I had one more question. Michael Drake, going with contour lines, long line, or across several depths. At Sardis last week, I would bounce from the top of the ledge down to the deeper side. I did notice that those fish last week were actually sitting on the deeper side of the ledge. So at that point, I followed the deeper contour lines, and up there, it was ranging from about 17 to 21 foot of water. To kind of answer that question before we get out. And we've got a really good contest this week for you guys. It's going to be Dustin blank McDaniels. McDaniel needs a nickname. Help name Dustin this week.
Oh, I like this one. Chip Lott said the Grand Connection. I like that, buddy. You dang right. Grand Connection. Gosh dang, you guys killing me now.
Booger.
Pat, you be good, brother. I appreciate y'all for watching. If this ain't been fun, something's wrong with you. What else can you do on a Tuesday for an hour besides watch 2 good old rednecks that think they know how to catch crappie? Okay.
Yeah, some days they make me think differently, but appreciate too. Last week I seen 2 different people.
Oh, hold on. I was talking.
Rude.
GFB Outdoors.
Somebody put that one on there.
Give it a good look on Facebook. Give it a like. GFB Outdoors. Y'all like looking at tables of fish? That's what we do. GFB Outdoors. Get you some.
Rude Dustin. How about that
one? Whatever.
Mustache magnet. I like that one too.
Oh, hey, guess what? I'm getting ready to go all stash. It's about that time. Wife's not a big fan, but sometimes life is short. Things are getting chopped off. Next Tuesday, you guys will see the strongest stash you've seen in a while.
I think you just need to do a little piece of it like that.
I think me and you need a stash off.
Ooh.
I think me and you need to see what we can grow. Mine's pretty dark on you already so far. Yours is kind of starting to frost over a little bit. Starting to get frosty.
I heard something chattering in the background. Appreciate it every week. So make sure you hit the subscribe. Hit that little bell if you're on YouTube. Join us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Times. We have a blast. Cannot do it without every single one of you watching every week. Love doing today's bite. Thank you, Bobby Garland, for coming up with this. And got some great podcasts coming up. Can't wait to show you guys. Had a blast at the crappie compound at Como, Mississippi with Les Smith and everybody up there. Phenomenal time, great event. Some very lucky winners come from Grizzly Jigs, so make sure you guys join in next year at Grizzly Jigs and put in for that contest. And that's a funny one. Dusty Britches. That's a good one too.
Whatever. Hey, I appreciate y'all. We got to get off here. Sorry. Time's getting real thin.
That's fun, guys. See y'all next Tuesday night.
Thank y'all.
Till next time, Brad Chapel. Holla.
Holla.